Willie D Live.
Has anything? Well,
Multiple
I know
times.
it has.
Yeah.
What happened in your life that made you
It's
re-examine what real is?
it's so many. Say what happened? Like how many times it happened?
Hmm.
You know, and as a father, man, when you conflict with your kids, number one, and then when it's to me is more my kids. It's more the failure when you feel you fail or you failing or maybe you not the proper example to your kids, and I got to look back and say, damn, I was gone so long. I did my kids a disjustice. And then as you move, and I'm always reminded and constantly reminded when I come to the South or when I travel on how a lot of brothers are raised with their fathers, or a lot of brothers, not brothers, they don't grow up with the immediate violence that we had to grow up with in LA, immediately being a gang, where everybody is affiliated with a gang damn near at birth by the block you live on. And it takes me back to say those moments when you have an argument with your son or your daughter, and then if nobody else can tell you how much trash or piece of shit you are, it's your kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's always, a moment when you know, like, yeah, I ain't get it all the way right. You know what I mean? And now I look at my sons, my older two sons, now my baby boy that's in football, and I look at them becoming men. I look at them all totally within their kids' lives, taking care of their kids, and being a part of their life. And sometimes I might hear like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it right," but every time they say they're gonna do it right, what that mean?
What you mean? Like it means right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
They gonna do it like that.
They gonna do it right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that means somebody else did it wrong.
Right.
So if you're a father and you want to be a man to your kids, that's a shot.
Oh.
And if that don't hit you, then you really not connected to what you are trying to do. Because everybody want to be appreciated. You know what I mean? For something. You know what I mean? So those are always, it's like ever present. You know what I mean? Then I watch my son, dealing with their kids and their relationships. And then I look at, where I am, how blessed I am. How blessed I am to still have my mother and my father. Are they older and they, dealing with all of the complications. And my mother fighting right now. And I'm blessed to still have all my kids. And I'm blessed to see my kids trying to find out and figure out this thing called life and this thing called money. So, but I look at where I am, where I'm trying to go, and I say, damn, it's all the time. I can say is when I first read Malcolm X's autobiography, it changed me from doing this. Then I could say it was a conversation and opinion when I feel like when I was 25, 26, now the penitentiary yard becomes mine. And now I'm responsible for all the homies on the yard. You know what I mean? And then now I'm responsible for disciplining grown men for doing certain things. I can say it was that. You know what I mean? Then I can say, damn, now I got to make a decision on disciplining one of my homeboys versus somebody else. Damn, how am I going to look to the hood? Then I can say I'm responsible for trying to say I got to let this one go because I need to get to this one. You know what I mean? Then it's the pressure of raising a kid with a wife and, trying to figure out how to manage that. You know what I mean? And dealing with money and then dealing with all these white folks in your business and trying to take you down and putting these other internets on the internet to, try to destroy you. And you looking at people who were supposed to be your partners or whatever, how you fall into the ignorance of COINTEL. Then it's it's so it don't ever change. You know what I mean? It don't ever change. I always say I'm gonna die broke. I ain't gonna die rich. because I'm going to give it away. Feast be a lie. I'm not going to die with no money in the casket. So you ain't got to come check my casket. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give it to the people that need it and want it. I don't have no fetish for jewelry. I don't have no fetish for fancy cars. I don't have no fetish for a whole lot of things. So it's always funny when people say I was jealous of any human being. I've never had fancy cars. I've never wore jewelry. I would play video games, sun up, sun down. I'll go swimming. I'll work out. I go to karate school. I do this. And that's it.
Yeah, I heard you know something about karate. Y'all, you grew up in that, huh?
Y'all grew up in that.
Now what's that? You got what you got, a black belt or something?
I got one of them too.
Yeah.
I got a black and brown. Yeah, only one.
Say, man, was there like something in your life that happened that you viewed as a failure, and it turned out to be a blessing in disguise?
Wow, man. Like I said, I don't know if I had a lot of failures, but like I said, I look at my joy is my sons, not my football player son. And my older son's gonna hear this now. My joy is my older sons to see that, they tried to follow me. They followed me down that street road, and now they men. And when I see my oldest son with his daughters, that's my joy. And when I get to see my grandkids and they come in the house and I can get a kiss from my grandkids while I'm playing a video game, they gonna say, "Granddad, you don't leave that video game." And that's a joy, man. I'm real simple. And like I said, I don't have no. I don't have it, man. I'm kind of like one of them dudes who I've never ever wore jewelry. I've never ever had spend money on fancy cars. I just, so my joys are simple. I'm easy to please. I got my problems. I ain't gonna air it here because I might get my head knocked off. But I just don't have that. You know what I mean? And like I said, I could take care of myself in a room of men. You know what I mean? So, and it's different when you see people like that. I enjoy being around and seeing successful people. I'm most proud of my joy is when I was on the island with Jay. Boy, I love that. Because now I got to reach that. When I see Snoop, the success of Snoop having, now I got to reach that. 50 Cent, Snoop, you know what I mean? All these dudes, man, in top at TDE. I love this. You feel what I'm saying? Because I want to be the one that did it. I got a lot of movie projects coming. I got book deals coming. A lot of things just, lined up that I'm doing. And I'm still, I get up, man, and I work, you know what I mean? And then I'm in a good space. I just got to say that. And I don't have a lot of regrets. I don't have a lot of wish I would have done it, or wish I didn't do it, or I got a lot of wish I didn't do, but I don't have a lot of wish I would have done it. And then maybe I should dream more. Maybe I should, want to do certain things. I never wanted to do no traveling. Like, I ain't the one who want to go a lot of places. I only reason I went to the thing because,
But you're gonna have to travel, man. Does the missus like traveling?
Yes, she want to go a lot of places, man.
You got to go. You ain't got no choice.
Yeah, well, now my last baby's in college. And I mean, to speak on me now, I can do a lot of things. Yeah. You know what I mean? We gonna do it when the money ain't right, man. I don't got no money like people think I do. You know what I mean? And I ain't mad at that. You know what I mean? My son is gonna be very wealthy in a couple of years, and he love the hell out of his daddy. Me and my son have a great relationship. We have the best we could, because my son know I was there. A lot let me be there. A lot let me come home, help guide his steps, help him make right decisions, and we as a family and as a team made decisions. But I was able to do that because I had a lot of help, man. I had a mentor, man, who I watched a lot. His name is Robert Garrett. He's the head coach at Crenshaw High School. I watched him you know, do a whole lot of things. Then I have my uncles, my dad who lives with me, who I take care of. I love him. He was the one that put a drive. I watched my dad work he had two different jobs. We had our own store in Chicago. When I came out there, man, he gave me a store. He invested time in me, and I just was already wrapped up in this cripping. So I went back to LA and, went crazy. But I was influenced by a lot of great men. You know what I mean? And I embraced that. And I try to be the one to get that back. Because I know my failures is what I'm trying to correct in LA. I didn't have nobody who took me like I take kids to football practice. Like I'll Uber a bunch of kids. I'll spend money I'm not supposed to spend on buying pizzas and giving these kids a chance to be out of their neighborhoods and be with me. You can see a family structure, a wife and a husband at my house. You know what I mean? My wife always go crazy because there's 1,000 kids at our house. It's kids at my house I don't even know they're there. Their mama gonna call. Yeah, he here. I gotta go find him. Where he at? He in the basement. He here. He in the. You know what I mean? And it's a great place because well, I don't want to say nothing to get me in trouble, but you can see a man and a woman relationship, and a lot of places you don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying? And the things is ever changing. But I don't want to give them a chance to be able to be successful and see that. And whatever you do, you do. You know, and nobody took me there, bro. Our examples was to go break in the house. How you break in the house, how you steal this, how you do that, you know what I mean? I right now employ I got 67 people that work for me right now for developing option. To this day, 67 are my homeboys.